everyone, this is Janelle here. So I'm going to be doing a review on We Bare Bears. The recent episode that came out was called, I believe, Primal. So I thought the episode was good in general. The plot was basically, I'm not going to get into details because I want people to watch it so they can understand for themselves exactly what's going on. So the plot is that Grizzly he wanted to watch like something on the internet. What was it, Baby Pandas on March or something like that, and he gets distracted by an advertisement talking about how it's important to live in the wild and stuff like that, and after he watched this guy, I believe that I guess he's like the spoof version of Steve Irwin or something like that. How it's cool to live in the wild and stuff, and all the cool things about it and stuff like that. So Grizzly gets so distracted about the advertisement, he didn't even bother to watch the video that he wanted to watch on everyone's tube, which is obviously the spoof of YouTube. So he decides to let his friend, well, I'm gonna say his brothers, because I realized in this episode Panda and Ice Bear are his brothers, which I never knew before. But anyway, excuse me. So he basically tells them, let's go to like the woods and like be within nature and just soak in the air and stuff like that. So Ice Bear and Panda aren't really fond of this idea that Grizzly is coming up with, to just live in nature and just dwell with nature, so to speak, without bringing any food and without any technology or electronics. And I think that's how it's supposed to be even when you go to camping. I think it's very important, because I feel that, as I'm going to talk later, technology now these days is like you feel like you can't leave your house just to, without grabbing like a cell phone or, I don't know, PSP. People don't have PSP now these days. They have more like their cell phone, tablets. There we go, tablets. Basically, so even though Panda and Ice Bear don't like this idea, they'd rather be home in their cave, just chillaxing, going on the computer and stuff like that, which I don't really understand. I'm gonna get to that I'm gonna also get to that later. I'm gonna get back to that later. So going back, I'm straying away from the plot. Is so unreal, it's ridiculous. So as I was saying, so the three of them just live off nature, and they're trying to find food, and like Grizzly's trying to find food and stuff like that, and he just can't find nothing. He's just digging all sorts of garbage, like in the lake. Like, if you're gonna find anything in the lake, how you gonna find anything in a lake where it's filled with garbage? Fish is not gonna live there, obviously. And I'm surprised that the water is not brown, since there's a lot of garbage in there. Anywho, so since Grizzly couldn't find any food in the water, in all that clutter, the clutter that's in the water. So he basically, he goes off into the woods. He wanders off and finds these campers somewhere in the woods, and he goes into the garbage. He finds food in the garbage. Basically tries to eat as much as he can from there. And for some reason, these people don't even realize that there's a bear there. They just probably hearing noises, and they just don't even bother like checking thing checking anything out. You know, if it was me, if I hear noises, I'd go check what's making those noises. But anywho, he eats up most of the food as in the garbage. And as I'm sitting there watching it, I'm surprised that the thought of his brothers did not, come to mind. That they want food as just as I am. I'm Grizzly. They want food as just as much as I am. I might as well go and try to give something, bring back food for them so that they can get something to eat. But no, I must eat all the food. But then, at the last minute, he thinks of them, and basically, he tries to steal as much food as he can. But at that time, that's when the campers realized that the grizzly bear was there. So what basically they do, there was just one person. Well, I shouldn't say one person. It was a lot of people throwing things at Grizzly, hoping that he could drop the food, and he did. I don't really understand the reason why he would drop the food. If it was me stealing food from garbage can, I would run with it. Why the heck would you drop the food? I mean, yes, it's obviously gonna hurt when you get stuff thrown at your face and stuff like that, but come on, Grizzly. You should have ran with that food. Anywho, back to Panda and Ice Bear. They're there, starving as hell, I'm quite sure. Itchy and probably smelly and stuff. And Panda just daydreams. What happens then is that they start hallucinating things. And basically, Panda sees like I don't know, one of those things you would find like in I don't know, fast food restaurant, one of those things, those soda fountain things, but there's like yogurt coming out of it. So he daydreams of that. So, cause it's like the same thing with all these movies. With when the characters are walking in the desert and it's hot, they want something to drink, they want something to eat, they're gonna hallucinate stuff. Basically, it's the same kind of theory here. And I shouldn't say it's surprising, because you see it in most movies or series, TV shows, I mean. So anywho, they basically, and I shouldn't say Panda alone, Ice Bear was also hallucinating the frozen yogurt, which I've never tried before. I've had ice cream several times. To say I've ever had frozen yogurt, I've never had frozen yogurt before, and I would like to try some. I heard some people say it's better than ice cream. Well, I need to try that for myself so that I can decide for myself. They both hallucinate on the frozen yogurt, and it gets to a point where, like, they want that final frozen yogurt flavor. They're both fighting for it, so they basically I shouldn't say on, like, I shouldn't say that they're ripping each other's ears apart and tearing off the skin. They're clawing. They're just fighting, because that's what happens when you want something to eat. You're gonna fight for the food. It's especially for bears. It's like it's an instinct. Even though they're brothers and stuff, they're gonna still fight for it, so that they can survive. So I guess the full-blown instincts kick in this episode, whereas in the other episodes they're chillaxed, like Panda and Ice Bear. That's what happens when, and I think this is what nature does to you. Like, instincts take full control. Like when you don't have all those technology, when you don't have that much technology, that's what happens. The instincts kick in and survival mode takes its course. So meanwhile, I mean, so I'm not gonna obviously get into it like I said. But the ending is nice. The ending is really good. I'm not gonna give it away, but it's a good ending. Basically. If I keep on looking away, I'm sorry, is the hammering. It's so annoying. I keep on getting so distracted by it. It's unreal. So anyways, coming back to the episode, there are certain things that I've noticed in the show that I have to address. The advertising, basically. Let me start off with that. That's the thing that stuck out to me the most. Advertising, when you go on YouTube, not even YouTube, when you go to other sites like Facebook, you're gonna see advertisements based on what you searched in the past. Like, let's say everybody has heard of, I don't know, famous footwear, just to put something out there. I don't shop there often, that's besides the point, but just to put it out there. I'm quite sure that when you go on other sites, you're gonna see that they are advertising shoes that you looked at before, or probably in a different color, or probably something that has like some kind of similarity, just to catch your eye, just to get you to buy the product, and probably distract you from even. And yeah, probably distract you from what you wanted to look up in the first place. So that's a thing. And yes, that explains. That's probably the moral of what happened with Grizzly when he went on to YouTube. That advertising can be distracting when it comes to when it comes to you looking up stuff in general. Yes, it's there. Yes, it is there to be acknowledged and stuff like that, but it does become a distraction in which where it may prevent you from actually remembering what you actually looked up. So that's one thing. The next thing I want to point out, and I mentioned this before, why the heck did Grizzly forget about his brothers when he found the food? Like, common sense can't tell him, hey, my friends, I keep on saying friends with my brothers need food. I might as well bring some. Don't even bother sitting there and eating, because obviously the people are going to notice me. I'm just saying, if I was in Grizzly's position, people are going to see me taking food out of the garbage. Okay. They're gonna see me, and I must hurry get the food so that my brothers can eat. But this is what I was saying earlier with the nature kicking in and stuff. Survival of the fittest. And I think that's also what like I said, what they're trying to imply in this episode. That you only care about yourself. You're only supporting yourself. You don't care about others. Well, if you have children, but babies and stuff like that, you have to provide for them. But you gotta also care about yourself too. You also, and this goes for nature in general. I mean, in nature, like with lions and stuff. If it's brothers or something and sisters, you're fending for yourself. It's like for lions, for example. If they're brothers and stuff, they're gonna fend for themselves. At least they're old enough to fend for themselves, take care, or much less be on their own. Anywho, next thing I want to bring up, and I think I have yet to see an episode of this. Why in the world Grizzly Panda? Not why in the world. How did Grizzly Panda and Ice Bear live with each other? Like, how they end up being together? That's what I have yet to see, and I don't think there's any hints in the episode so far that that would answer this question. That I felt should have been like the first episode instead of, what was the first episode where their bag, what was it, the stuff was taken away or something like that. I've yet to review on that. And the reason why I'm not going in chronological order is that this is my first review. So I will come back to those episodes, those old episodes, and review them as well. But it's going to take some time because I'm going to be busy with college and stuff like that. I'm going to have to take some time out. So yeah, we still need to know how Grizzly, Ice Bear, and Panda got together, because we don't know their backstory that far. All we know is that they live in a cave. They feed off of people food, and they somehow know how to use computers and cameras to take selfies and use the computer to go on something that looks like Facebook. I don't remember the actual site that they put on the show itself. But yeah. Basically. And another thing that I've been seeing throughout the episode so far, why do they seem to have to why do they seem to have to be on top of each other as they're as they're traveling? Like Ice Bear on the bottom, Panda in the middle, and Grizzly on top. Why it always has to be that way? I don't understand that. I mean, are they too lazy to crawl on themselves? That's pure laziness, especially for Grizzly and Panda. And why is Ice Bear always on the bottom? Why is Panda not on the bottom? Why don't they take turns being on the bottom? Why Ice Bear always have to be on the bottom? Is there a reason for that? I have no idea. It's ridiculous. And I feel that they're too lazy. I mean, I see that I see that kind of scenario in this episode as well. In fact, I've seen it so far in all of the other episodes as far as I'm concerned. But then again, I haven't it's been a while I've seen those other episodes, so I may be wrong, and I may have to look it over again and see if that actually happened. But like I said, it doesn't make no sense. Like, they're bears. How they're able to support their weight and each other's weight is ridiculous. So yeah, I don't understand that at all, basically. Okay. Basically, oh yes. Now here's something in this episode that really got my gears going. Now, there's a scene where Grizzly's being chased by his brothers, and he jumps in a car, right? Like, and he somehow gets that car running. I don't understand how that car is able to run, and it does not have any keys in there, right? Now, if you look at the model of the car, it's like one of those old models where you need the key to turn the ignition. Now, these days, you can just turn the knob and the car just comes on. But how in the world, I don't understand, how in the world is that car able to move without the keys igniting the ignition? Like, I don't understand that. That makes absolute no sense. Okay? And here's another thing I didn't notice until now. Is now I just realized as I'm talking here. How is Grizzly able to make that car continue to move and his feet is not on the acceleration? I find that kind of weird. I'm not sure if I do not know how to drive cars really well. I mean, I'm learning. I'm 21, even though I don't look like it. Because I'm quite sure you guys are like, how old I am. I'm 21. It's just that my genes don't make it look like I'm 21. Anyway, I do not know how to drive a car really well. I know some of the basics, like looking around, checking your mirrors and stuff like that. But I have no idea. I'm not sure if a car can still move when you don't have your feet on acceleration. That I am not sure of. the motto of this episode is basically the same thing, the same motto as Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry. Is basically, and another thing I think is the motto of this episode is that instincts will take over. I think the more technology becomes more advanced, the less of a way, the more difficult it is to survive without it. In my opinion, the world is gonna get worse as the years go on. I'm sorry. It's just gonna get worse. I am not gonna get into politics because that's another topic in itself outside the reaction video. It's taking over, and basically, even if I don't mention this, I didn't mention this in the early video, I'm mentioning it now. It reminds me of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 4, where technology basically takes over, like more specifically with the internet. And it's more specific with that one, with Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, where internet takes over, whereas in this episode, technology takes over, like in a broad spectrum. It don't matter. It could be Facebook, YouTube, what have you. I mean, there was this part where, like, I'm guessing he's like the leader of the group. He was talking. I don't know what he was saying. I don't remember, but he was talking about some kind of story or something, and there was this girl on her phone just texting away. Like, you can't camp and have a good time, be with friends without having the urge to text. That's how society is nowadays, and it's kind of sad that you can't even sit by a friend or have dinner without texting. I mean, it's completely rude if people just text and I'm talking to them, or they're playing a game. And it's so distracting. People don't realize it's distracting, but it is distracting. Because when you're having a conversation with somebody, you're supposed to make eye contact because it shows that you're focused. I feel that there's a lack of focus when it comes to people now these days, when they're just playing games on Facebook, what have you. Same difference. You're still being distracted. Yeah, it makes technology, don't get me wrong, technology in a way helps people, but in the long run, it kinda has a bad influence. And there are other examples that I've noticed how technology is very distracting. I think it was no, it's not the first episode, it's the second episode, in fact. There was a scene where Grizzly, after he uploaded the video to get views, like that, so he and his friends could be as popular as the koala, koala guy on everybody's tube or everyone's tube, and he was sitting all day, all night, seeing whether or not he gets views. Like, you're just wasting your time. There are always better things to do. You can always come back to that. Why do you gotta feel the need to sit at a computer waiting to see how much views you have? Like, you're just letting the internet control you. Next example I want to bring up is when there's a scene. There's another episode. This scene is not from the same episode. I definitely remember from a different episode where Panda was on his laptop on this website. I can't remember the name. Somebody can mention in the comments. I wouldn't mind. There was a website that was similar to Facebook in that show, where he was posting photos and stuff like that just to get a lot of views, and most of the episode he was on the computer. To me, when that mouse came onto the laptop, I think I feel I feel it has some kind of symbolism. I feel it's a sense of, how should I put it? It's something to get him to get off the computer. Everybody has their opinion of thinking of things. Like how there's like a million ways you can interpret "Don't hug me, I'm scared," which all has something to do with how the reality, in my opinion, the overall theme for all of those episodes, how there's an ugly truth behind things that people do every day. Creative minds and stuff like that, and time, everybody gotta grow up and stuff like that, all those other themes. And there's an ugly truth, but we gotta face it at some point, and it's not pretty. I mean, I feel that when they say "Don't hug me, I'm scared," is that don't hug me because this situation that I'm in, the situation that the reality, you can't escape reality. And I feel that when people hug you, you feel better, but you don't feel better about the situation because it's there and there's nothing you can do about it. That's why they say "Don't hug me, I'm scared." I mean, I think that's the reason why they call it "Don't hug me, I'm scared." But anywho, it's obvious that I'm getting stemming away from the reaction video. So I'm gonna end the video here. Please like and subscribe for more footage. I'm not only gonna be doing reaction videos, I'm also gonna be doing let's plays, reactions like these. I'm gonna hopefully get into the other couple episodes of We Bear Bears. So like and subscribe, So until my next video, peace. That is so annoying. Like, just hearing the basketball bouncing up and down and as I'm trying to do my recording. How rude. Anyway, so basically I'm running out of things to say. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there are things that I want to point out. Now before I how the heck Grizzly Banda Banda and Surf Panda? That's ridiculous. That's bad. Spoonerism, not spoonerism. Irony. Anywho, just drink my water. So basically, the motto, the